then it actually makes zero sense for me to have a meeting during my most productive period. It really doesn't. Today I want to show you how I get so much done. How do I optimize my time? I've gotten this question a few times. Alex, how do you optimize your time? Is what they say. I don't know why I did it like that, but some of you guys are wondering, honestly, like, how am I doing so much stuff? And there's only one way to teach it to you. Let's do this Alex Becker style. Now, let's get the USB pad out. I got this digital pen. I bought this just for this video. I'm just kidding, I had it for designing clothes. Anyway, let's go over to the old MacBook Pro, one of Tim Cook's greatest designs. And let's see, how does Alex Berman optimize his time? This is pretty fun. Let me know down in the comments if you like this kind of thing. Maybe next time I'll have a Lamborghini behind me. I feel so much pressure online to get the Lambo, but it's not a good car. Like, who drives a fucking Lambo, dude? For real. It doesn't look good. It's not fast. I mean, it's probably fast. I don't know if it's fast or not. It doesn't look good. Maybe I'll drive a Tesla, but I still drive a Prius from 2011. Like, come on, who needs a Lambo except to show off? I'm not hating on Alex Becker, by the way. All right, let's get back to it. How does Alex Berman optimize his time? Well, the way I optimize my time to make sure I get the maximum amount of work done is by blocking my days. So check this out. So Monday and Tuesday. So Monday and Tuesday are what I call creative days. Let's put a little block here. We'll say creative days. Creative days are where I do funny drawings. For instance, here's a snake, and here's his tail. And maybe he's got a halo. That's pretty cool. How does Alex Becker not draw a bunch of crap on his board every time he's drawing? It's very distracting, honestly. Maybe I'll draw a little circle around him. Circle snake, crossed him out. Let's get back into it. Monday and Tuesday are creative days. This is when I do the brain work in the morning, especially Monday. Also on Tuesday, I make YouTube videos, YT vids. I make these in bulk. I usually record 4 at a time, 2 weeks of content, plus a Friday video. If we're doing a Friday video, I record those Friday videos as they come out because they're podcast reviews. So I'll make YouTube videos. Maybe this is practice, but like, how do you write in a way that people can read? Make YouTube vids, okay, I do that. And I'll do that in a block in the morning. I'm recording the videos. I'm not editing the videos. I'm not doing any of that stuff. All of that is outsourced, which is another big part of optimization. The less work you do, the better. And I tell this to my managers at my companies as well. Div, I told him the other day, if he's giving notes on YouTube videos to the editors, he's not using his time effectively. A manager works best when they're creating to-do lists, when they're creating systems and processes, when they're telling other people what to do. Workers do best when they're working. If a worker's thinking too much, they need to either become a manager or they need to stop thinking and do the processes. If a manager is working too much, even our CEO, Robert, was doing this a lot. For a long time, he thought it was high value for him to jump in and fix stuff. And it's not. If you read books by billionaires, any book by a billionaire, they'll say the same stuff. For instance, even Howard Schultz's book, Onward, he talked about how one time he was walking by a Starbucks. Should I be drawing this, by the way? I'm not gonna draw it. One time Howard Schultz was walking by a Starbucks. So this neon sign outside the Starbucks is normally green and bright. And this time it was out when it should have been on. So instead of calling that specific Starbucks and trying to fix that sign and scrambling, he instead spent his time, same amount of time, working on a system so that no Starbucks sign would ever be out again. That's the way you really optimize and leverage your time. So Monday and Tuesday, when I'm not making the YouTube videos, are creative days to think about, where am I going wrong in this business? Where am I going right? How can I make more money? Should I write a musical on Monday? I'll do creative stuff too, a lot of art stuff. I'll write songs, I'll write movie scripts. I might even write sales scripts. The main thing I'm not doing is meetings. I'm not meeting with anyone, and I'm not really editing. Editing can come later. Monday and Tuesday are all brain work, and that allows me to leverage super hard. Then comes the rest of the week, which is when I have my meetings. Let's talk about that. We have Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday are when I have all of my meetings. I don't have meetings Monday, Tuesday. Let's write rules. So meetings are Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, 9 to 5. But ideally, these meetings are happening during my least productive period, which is 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Normally, this is when a younger me would have taken a nap. Now I put my meetings there because meetings are super unproductive. Who gives a shit about meetings? But sometimes you got to do them. So if I put them during my least productive period, once 2 p.m. rolls around, I might have some more time to actually do work. So I optimize, I put my meetings in my least creative period, and that way if I need to talk to somebody, I can talk to them, and it's not for new strategy. Usually, let's say on Wednesday, I'll give you an example of Wednesdays so you can see kind of what I'm talking about. Wednesdays are the one-on-one days, so I'll meet with everyone. So I have a meeting with Robert, X27 review. I have a meeting with Tierra, which is the product side of X27. I'll meet with Div, who runs our marketing. I'll meet with anyone on the team that has a random meeting. I'll have a meeting with the director of sales. A lot of X27 stuff on Wednesday. But these are reviews. It's not like we have to make strategy. The strategy happens Monday and Tuesday. So by the time I get to these meetings, I'm full of new ideas. And all of that prep leads to the light bulb of ideas. Because now I'm prepped, so I have all this data, and it allows me to riff and come up with interesting stuff at that time. That's when I have all these meetings. The rest of the time, so Monday, Tuesday's creative, Wednesday's the meetings, Thursday and Friday are all the other types of meetings, and I'll have these on Wednesdays too. But these other meetings that I have are interviews, so I'll have people on my podcast. I'll have being on other people's podcasts, so being interviewed. This is unreadable. How does Alex Becker do this? He's a genius entrepreneur, but he's also able to write in a way that people can read. I have a newfound respect for Becker. Even if he does like Lamborghinis, which is a tasteless car. I'll also do any webinars I have. If I want to sell to the list or I want to teach the list, I'll do that on Thursday, Friday, Wednesday. And I'll do paid consulting, all on Thursday, Friday, or Wednesday. These ones can happen anytime between 9 to 5. And actually, I prefer the interviews and anything where I'm creating content, I like it to be in the morning, ideally between 9 a.m. and 11 a.m. because that's when my brain is sharpest. The meetings with people, status review calls, meetings that shouldn't exist, I'll do during my least productive period. But these are content meetings, so these are important here. Now, this comes to the other important rule of how I optimize my time, and that is one meeting of each type per day. I tell this to Div. I have my Calendly set up like this too. It's a very rare occurrence where I'll have 2 consulting calls in one day. 4 people buy a consult in a week. I will push the 4th guy or gal to Wednesday the next week rather than have 2 consulting calls in one day. And that is for them. That's for me too, but it's for them. There's a lot of prep that goes into these consulting calls. Same thing with podcast interviews. I'll do 1 podcast interview in a day. Even if 4 or 5 people want to do a podcast interview, I'll push them off. Because contrary to what a lot of other people do, I actually listen to about an hour, hour and a half of every podcast before I'm on it. This is what's going on. Same with the webinars. There's prep that goes into all this stuff. So I do 1 type of meeting for each of these per day, and that's how I stay effective. So this is how I optimize my time. What do you think? Is there anything of value here that you can use? Let me know down in the comments. Would love to hear that. I'd also love to hear, what do you do to optimize your time? I'd say the biggest lesson, if you're gonna take one lesson away from this, it's have meetings at a time when you can't do work and structure your day around where you work best. I found out that I work best in the mornings, especially early mornings, 8, 9, 10, 11. So I try to avoid all the meetings then, and I do my creative work then. So that allows me to not have to work when I'm least productive. And I actually found that I'm not very productive after 5, 6 p.m. I'm actually not really productive after maybe 3 p.m. So if I can do an entire week's worth of work from 9 to 11 a.m. if I work then, and if I try to do that same amount of work at 11 and I can only get like an hour's worth of work done instead of a week's worth of work, then it actually makes 0 sense for me to have a meeting during my most productive period. It really doesn't. And that's how you optimize your time. You find out when your most productive periods are, and you build a system where you're not having your time stolen during those periods. I can have my time stolen at 6 p.m. all day. You know, they're not gonna get the best Alex. I wouldn't do a podcast interview at 9 p.m. at night. Some people though, would. Maybe you work best at night. And so your productive period, if it's, maybe you have a family, if it's when your kids are in bed and your wife, you've taught her to leave you alone after 8 p.m. or something, then 8 to 10 might be your most productive period. And that's when I would work. I wouldn't do any meetings or anything then. And that's how you optimize your time. Running a cold email campaign is one of the easiest ways, one of the most straightforward ways I've found to get new clients. We've used it to match with most of the Fortune 500 for our agency clients and a lot of billion-dollar brands we've been able to sell. We've generated millions of dollars of revenue just from cold email. The problem is if you've tried cold email, it's not as straightforward and as easy as it looks. But luckily, we have put together the cold email optimization checklist, and you can have it for free. What this is the internal tool we use to optimize our cold email campaigns. This checklist will teach you or your team when to rewrite the subject line, when to rewrite the body of the email, what to put in the body of the email, how to check the email to make sure there's no errors before the send goes out. All of that in a very straightforward checklist, and you can have it for free. To get it, go over to experiment27.com/checklist, and you can have that download. Again, the URL is experiment27.com/checklist. Let me know if you found this valuable down in the comments. Give it a like, share this video with someone you think would find value in it. Subscribe for more content like this. We do videos 3 times a week, all about business, all about selling, sales, marketing, and making cash. I'm Alex Becker. Talk to you later. I'm Alex Berman. Talk to you later.